Adult style of learning often differs from that of a traditional learner. Adult learners are typically self-directed, taking responsibility for their own learning and participating in a more active dialogic manner. However, when the platform of discussion involves popular social media sites, younger learners may hold the upper hand. Twitter is a medium that is becoming more frequently used as a public discussion forum in adult education. These may be brief 140-character responses, but shorter responses can lead to a more direct commentary and instantaneous message collaboration. At Tewksbury Memorial High School, music teacher Heather Ware is incorporating Twitter into her curriculum. She got this idea from her graduate professors at Northeastern University.
So in my music history class, I use it as sort of an exit ticket. A lot of teachers use paper and pen exit tickets, so they ask a question as kids are leaving the class about the topics that were discussed. And I use it in that same way. Why I really like it is because the kids have access to it throughout, outside of class, so that they can keep coming back to it, and it keeps the ideas that we talk about in class much more fresh in their minds. They're constantly thinking about it because they have to respond to their peers.
It creates a kind of social constructivist approach with a blend of a familiar social tech medium. As technology develops and becomes more of a norm for socializing in our everyday lives, using the same platform for educational reasons may encourage its use for formal or even informal learning through conversation.
With discussion boards and Blackboard, it's not as much of an instantaneous response. So with Twitter, you get the instant response. It's easier to access through your phone. The shorter, the length of characters is shorter, so it forces you to get to the point more quickly. So you get an idea of what people are thinking much more quickly than with a long discussion board post. The other thing is it's a great tool for sharing research. So just sharing links to research that you find on whatever the topic of the class is. The students actually reacted the same way that I did. They were just sort of confused as to how it was going to work and didn't really understand what to expect from it.
For our adult staff who attended a professional development session led by Heather, the purpose of using this medium was clear to our teachers, but they needed a little bit more guidance through how to use it.
I think that they were all receptive to the idea. I don't know how many of them are actually applying it to their classroom, but they did seem receptive to the idea and intrigued by it. I did have to sort of teach it a little bit more thoroughly to people that weren't using Twitter in their daily lives anyway, so I had to go over setting up an account in a much more detailed way.
I would say I appreciate her efforts, but Twitter is not something that speaks personally to me. I did set up a Twitter account that I use very rarely because I fear as a teacher and as a parent, I don't want to become obsolete and not understand these mediums, but it's not something that I have a natural inclination for or feel very comfortable using.
Adults who attended this professional development are looking into integrating tech and social apps in their classrooms. This would be for non-adult learners. As adults are more willing to share and discuss their ideas with fellow learners, some teachers express their liking for using it for their own informal type of learning.
What I found through working through my grad program is a great resource for information as well as just communicating with friends. So you're able to follow other accounts that are about the topic. So I follow a bunch of music history accounts and it gives daily facts and things like that. Other educators post a lot on Twitter and it's constantly new information being shared on teaching techniques and things like that. So I'm able to use that in my classroom.
A few years ago, I got in touch with my old college roommate from Plymouth State College, and she's a teacher in Montana, and she's really good at Photoshop, and she's given me ideas for lessons for Adobe Photoshop because she does that a lot in her school.
I have used social media as a form of getting news, but I also am old enough to understand the difference between a credible news source and a non-credible news source. So I think within education, we have a lot of work to do to educate kids how to understand it and use it objectively.